Whoever thought a guy would want a girl like me? Whoever thought that I would fall so easily? Whoever thought.
Hi, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be detailing my IUD experience. So I recently got the Paragard, which is the copper IUD, approximately 3 weeks ago, and I thought it would be nice to do a video because I was doing a lot of research prior to getting the IUD inserted, and I feel like if I do a video, it would be informative and helpful to those who are looking to have it done as well. So a little backstory on me. I originally did not want to go with a hormonal option for birth control because I do suffer from depression and anxiety and vanity as well. I don't want to gain weight. And I just didn't want that to be a potential thing for me. So I looked into non-hormonal options, and the copper IUD was right up my alley. I spoke with my provider about it. I do see a nurse practitioner for my gynecological reasons. So she explained my options. She did say that she recommends the Kyleena, which is a small dosage hormonal IUD, but I was just very against and headstrong on not using anything hormonal because of the aforementioned reasons. So I did my research on the copper IUD, and I was pretty pleasantly surprised that most people, once their body does get accustomed to it, it works out for them. So I have the Paragard, as I said before, which is the copper IUD that lasts for 10 years. Now in 32, and I'm not looking to advocate, I can just keep it in and I don't have to worry about it. That was one of the more attractive components with this IUD, is that it's not something I would have to take every day, such as with hormonal birth control or even like a NuvaRing. I'm not sure how the NuvaRing works, but I know you have to change out every 3 weeks or something like that. Cool. What they gave me when I was first researching it. So if this would focus, that would be like really cool. So that's what is inside of me. And it has strings. So the strings are supposed to curl around my cervix as time goes on. And yeah. So let's get into insertion. Hello, people of YouTube. So I now have the IUD inserted. I can barely speak.
No babies breathe. I'm so dead.
It was a very traumatic experience for me. I literally, first of all, when they were doing their contraption, I jumped. So my nurse practitioner was like, girl, we can't do this because I'm gonna hurt your uterus and I'm not going to jail. She didn't say that, but that's what she said. So I was like, okay, give me like 5 minutes, because that was really like crazy. So my nurse practitioner did prescribe me Misoprostol. I'm gonna insert the name on the screen here because I don't think I'm pronouncing it correctly, so you have the correct spelling. So it's supposed to induce labor. Once I looked into what the drug does, I was instructed to take one the night before my procedure and then the morning of, and I also compounded that with ibuprofen as well, just to give me an advantage in terms of like my pain response or whatever. So I get there and I'm like, oh, like I'm very nervous. I'm like, girl, it's about to hurt. Like it's not giving to me personally. Like I don't feel comfortable eating here no more. Like, you know, very much scared. Okay, so let's get into the actual insertion part, right? So she's prodding and poking my nurse practitioner. If you see this, hey, Miss Nicole. So she puts the forceps, like the things you need to like insert the to keep the vagina open. She inserts the forceps into my vagina. Some other like medical instruments to see like the vagina and stuff like that, just to make sure everything is okay. So that was like very uncomfortable, like very uncomfortable. So I just wasn't used to having that in my vagina. Like it just was not giving. It felt weird. It felt like she was scraping my urethra. Not that she was doing anything wrong, but it's just like it was just a very uncomfortable experience. So let's say she was here, right? I was here in front of her. So she put an additional thing inside of me and I literally jumped. So to that point, she was just like, yeah, girl, like it's cut the cameras, dead ass.
Cut the cameras. Dead ass.
That's like, it's not giving, like I will literally hurt you. Like she said, like she can perforate my uterus if I move during this procedure. So we basically had to stop. And I felt dumb because she said, you know, within like another 30 seconds, you would have been done and the IUD would have been inserted. So she was like, I'm gonna give you like 20 minutes to collect yourself, which she did. So I ended up talking to my friends and like making jokes about it. I actually had my friend Alexis drive me. Lex, if you see this video, love you very much. Well, I drove, and then she was gonna drive me back after the procedure because I realized I wasn't gonna be in any position to drive because I would be in pain. Okay, so I finally mustered up the courage to get the IUD inserted because I'm like, girl, like I literally mapped this whole experience out. Like I came here for a reason, blah 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 blah. If it's not now, it's gonna be never. So yeah, I psyched myself up and I was like, all right, Brie, like you could do this, like yeah. So they had an additional person come into the room. It was actually a nurse. She was very sweet. She held my hand and like talked me through the experience. It felt like they were scraping my urethra, and then once she finally got the IUD inserted, because the way she explained it to me is that the cervix, like when the cervix has things that it doesn't want in there, it does like this like intense cramping thing, you know? So it felt like my urethra was being scraped in conjunction with the intense cramping. Like it just wasn't giving. It's just, I was on the verge of tears, like, or I think I did cry. Did I? I felt like tears were coming out. I wanted to cry, but no tears were coming out. So very much painful. She finally did it, and for a couple minutes after, I was like shaking. I had the chills. I was just very, very overstimulated. It was not a fun time. So she allowed me an additional 15 to 20 minutes to recuperate myself. I also did have bleeding afterwards, which I didn't anticipate, didn't know that was gonna happen. I just really thought it was like a easy 1, 2, 3 thing. But like for me, it wasn't at the very least, you know? So cool. So afterwards, like immediately after the procedure, I'm a little achy. Like I want some ibuprofen. I want a heating pad. So I had my friend take me to Walgreens before dropping me off. My handy dandy heating pad right here. And just like the day after the procedure, basically, or the day of the procedure, I just didn't really do anything. I just chilled. I took my ibuprofen, my pain medication, had my heating pad. Yeah, like it wasn't so bad. It was just really the morning after the procedure, like 5 o'clock in the morning maybe, or yeah, 5 o'clock in the morning after the procedure. I had these horrible cramps. Like when I tell you horrible cramps, to the point where I was like, yeah, I need this shit out of me today, right now. Like I told my mom I was going to the hospital. Like it just was not giving the girls what I thought it was gonna give the girls. But I ended up being able to take pain medication pills, and the pain did subside to the point where I was able to go into work. So that was cool. I currently started my first period on the IUD. So I started my period on either Saturday or Sunday. That the idea that copper IUDs make your period heavier is definitely substantiated, because my period has been a lot heavier, and I think it's actually going on for longer because my period typically lasts like 3 to 4 days, and I'm on day like 4 now, going into 5. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and it doesn't look like it's letting up for now. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like at least a week long. So that's something that's not like really fun. Hate that for me. But yeah, otherwise, like other complications I had directly after the insertion. So maybe for like a week and a half or 2 weeks after, I started to feel like random cramps in like my groin area, in my back, in my abdominal pelvic region. Nothing crazy, just like weird cramps that weren't occurring before I had the IUD. So I was under the assumption I was gonna have to live with this shit, like it's not giving. But upon doing more research, I just realized that's my body getting used to like a foreign object being inside of it. I've also been heavily reliant on pain medication. Tylenol is like my best friend right now. I think I take Tylenol every day. I don't really know how like good or bad that is for me. I think I'm gonna speak to my nurse practitioner when I see her and ask her if there are any consequences for doing that. But it really does help with the pain management for sure. But yeah, all in all, I definitely am pleased with my decision to get the copper IUD. I think it was the best choice for me to not have to worry about birth control for basically 10 years. And not have to worry about taking hormonal birth control and possible fluctuations in my hormones. So yeah, like I definitely recommend it to the girls. I definitely recommend it. As I said, insertion is not a walk in the park. Like the girls who say like, oh, insertion was like a pap smear, like I guess you're just lucky, honey, because it was not like that for me, for sure. But yeah, either way, I definitely am a fan of Miss Copper IUD. Yeah. So yeah, I know I was looking for information when I was planning on getting mine, so I hope this video was informative. And if you have any comments or questions below, I'd be more than happy to answer. Please comment, like, and subscribe if you so choose. And I thank you for watching this video. And yeah, bye.